Hey, it's
Hey.
Thursday. I'm the maestro of mayhem. We're Rainbows and Razor Blades Productions. Yes, chaos does reign in our content. This is At the Threshold. Happy Thursday. My chair's rolling around and it's an earthquake. It's not an earthquake. I live in Minnesota. That's not to say you can't have earthquakes in Minnesota, I guess, but it's not common. I live on a fault line. I want everyone to know that. Anyway, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Minnesota Muse, Mark Maker Plier, Maker Moobot. I'm always looking forward to Moobot being in the chat. I know that's a bot. It's not a real person. Guy can dream, can he? Anyway, hello, thank you, and welcome. We are back now from our mid-season break of 1 week where, we rested our dice a little bit. We have worked on our wrists so that we can roll dice mo better. And yeah, anyway, these are my friends. They play D&D with me for some reason. They keep coming back, and I appreciate them. Except for Michael, because he's on a side quest, so he's not here. But let's go around, meet my friends. They'll tell you about themselves and the things that they do. Let's start with Ashley.
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley, Minnesota Muse on Twitter, and I am playing for you today Key Day, the Fire Genasi second level paladin. And I'm just trying to figure out what's going on because my memories are all messed up and don't make any sense.
Kristen.
Oh, hi. I was prepared for Allison to put in her command. I'm Kristen, Dark Realish on the internet, and tonight I'm playing Astray, the emotional support undead. We have merch. Anyway. And yeah, Astray is Astray.
Not living. Exactly.
She has gone astray metaphysically and physically. And Allison, hi.
Howdy. I'm Allison. I'm playing Selma, our little fairy druid, and she is a shining star. No matter where you are, she's a shining star.
Just want a disco now.
Exactly. That was the goal.
It's either a disco or we're all little mice coming to America.
I mean, if she goes into her star form, she could just be the disco ball.
That's true.
Just sort of rotate.
Everybody's disco dancing. Yeah. We need a bard now. Who wants to be the DJ? And I, of course, am Chad, Real CMG. I'm North Shore DM. You can find me on Twitter as Real CMG. I'm in the chat here. I probably won't ever chat because I'm DMing, but I'm North Shore DM here on Twitch. If as Kristen mentioned, the channel does have some dope merch, such as that t-shirt, such as this t-shirt. Logo t-shirt, very nice. Also sweatshirt or whatever. Mugs, there's coffee mugs now.
Yep, that say words are hard, y'all, because they're
words are hard, y'all.
for coffee.
A fantastic shirt that is. So if you want to support the channel, there are a couple of ways you can do that. Number one, you can get some merch, and caveat to that one, you'll look cool. Caveat, like benefit to that one, in addition to helping out the channel, you'll look cool and badass in those things. You can also, of course, like, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. You can, what the fuck? What is
You
it
can
called?
subscribe on Twitch.
Is it subscribe on Twitch? And
Don't let your Prime
Heart?
membership go to waste.
yeah, don't let the Prime
Follow,
membership go to
subscribe on
waste.
Twitch, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Follow. That's what it is. You'd think I'd been doing this for over a year. And then we also have a couple of one other way to support the channel. You can check out our Coffee or Ko-Fi if you're me link, where you can throw us some coin, which will also can also benefit the players. You can grant advantages, a very common thing to do in many such streams for 5e. You can grant the players what is called a maker's coin, which they now all have physically at their fingertips, that they can use to kind of change the fates of their roles. And you can also say, send a message to a loved one, or somebody you don't love but don't hate. I mentioned in the last episode, I might consider diss raps. If you have somebody you want that you maybe don't like, I'll do a diss rap, maybe. Or just say, if you want to say happy birthday. And then you can also like become an NPC in the game. Oh, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. Much like on the Adventure Zone, people will be like, hey, I want to be in the Adventure Zone on Twitter, and then they'll put people in the Adventure Zone. It's great. Also listen to the Adventure Zone. Anyway, those are ways that you can help out the channel and give some boons to the players and look cool, most important. So I suppose we should do a little bit of a recap.
A recap rap? No.
Recap.
Oh
One
yeah,
week
as a
recap.
diss rap.
Listen, I am not
recap.
prepared for that. I'm not
Next
prepared.
time. Next
You're the one
time.
who mentioned raps.
I
so.
did. I just start talking and things just come out of my mouth, and I
You've
just
got
go,
the skills to pay the bills. Diss rap.
That's right. Oh man. So we are, of course, playing in the city that is named, that we have named as the people who are the DM and the players, Munhalan, which is the City of Arches, which is, of course, a city source setting PDF available from Sly Flourish, and it is wonderful. So check that out, Sly Flourish, for all your smart DM needs. The city is known for having uncounted, because we don't know how many there are, uncounted archways that lead to other places, be they terrestrial locations, the mouths of dogs. It just totally unblurred the dogs. Whoa. That distracted me.
Sorry.
The arches lead to different places, both terrestrial and perhaps interdimensional, other realms, other planes, and we're unable to really control them in any real way. And the characters have come through the arches, have thus also lost most of their all of their long-term memories, not unlike Jason Bourne, which, yes, I know isn't really how amnesia works. Don't at me, it's magic.
Magic amnesia.
Yeah. they have, of course, recently discovered a number of, I don't know, goings on, conspiracies, perhaps, troubles that are plaguing them and also denizens of the city. Fae have fallen out of the sky and attacked other Fae, which sounds strange, but it's happened. There was definitely some kind of prison crypt thing up high in the mountains, frozen in a glacier. A mysterious voice spoke to Key Day. A voice of some queen, perhaps, who was trapped by her enemies. There has been the mention in a journal entry that Astray has, presumably her journal, about a slumberer between the stars, and a sacrificial pit of Fae by other Fae. So that's disconcerting. There's been attacks in the city. Oh yeah, and a bunch of passed out drunken fairies, but not the leprechaun, or not the gnome dude. That dude, he was
David the gnome can party.
he was in it for the long haul. Yeah.
And we slept over Henri's place, didn't we?
Yeah, you slept at Henri's attic,
Yeah.
apartment place in the second rise Corvella's Edge apartments. And I didn't get to the very end of the episode as I was rewatching it, but you woke up.
And there was some calisthenics that happened and a
Mm.
push-up off.
Oh yeah, there was a push-up
Oh,
competition.
yeah, we totally did.
And I just stared creepily at everybody.
And then we were going to go talk to Grace and One Eye.
Yeah. So yeah, you head out perhaps for breakfast, or to find some food or whatever, coffee, and as you are, as Henri is leading you out of his loft, attic, he a young like a young messenger looking kid. He's not like an urchin. He's not obviously not a rich kid, but like a young boy of moderately dressed clothes, wearing some kind of like speedy delivery shirt. I don't know. Comes up to him and says, yeah, I got a message for you. And Henri looks at the message, presumably tips the kid too much coin,
Sounds like him.
and says, I gotta go. And he goes,
But what?
I got a thing. Fighter stuff, mind powers.
Okay. Be careful out there.
Yeah, we'll catch up later. Sorry, it's a thing.
I guess so.
Did any of you notice that he took like something that looked like perhaps drugs before he went to sleep?
I don't think I've ever seen drugs.
I don't know.
I'm
I'm just confused.
I mean, he smoked before bed, didn't he?
Right. But, you know, that wasn't exactly regular smoke.
Oh,
It was not. It was thick.
well, um,
So we
I don't-
have an undead. We have a drug addict, and we have a star that is wanted for some kind of horrible crime.
we're doing terrific.
I'm not
Well-
yet completely dead.
No, you're fine. But just in fact, and Kide goes into her bag and starts like drawing out something very quickly, and she holds up a sign and she gives it to a stray, and it says "not a zombie." You think if you wear this around your neck, it'll help with the staring?
I don't know. She'll put it on anyway. Happy
All right.
Perfect. We're all about making friends now.
Ooh. So yeah, you step out into the, I suppose it's probably early afternoon or mid-afternoon.
Yeah, something like that. Because we
it
went to bed
is-
pretty early in the morning.
Yeah, it is hot. The apartments, this kind of section of the city, the second rise, is kind of up onto the foot of the mountains, and so you can kind of see over a good portion of the city from where you are, and you get that nice heat haze, you know, as the midday sun is just beating down upon the city. Yeah, what
I believe we're heading to I'm assuming the Druid's Grove to go talk to Grayson. That's what I
Yeah,
was
and I
thinking.
mean we can stop by a stall or something in the market area for you people to eat, to get like a breakfast roll or something.
It's
Oh,
very
that'd be
possible.
lovely.
Yeah, could do with a nice little pastry, maybe.
yeah.
I miss bacon. It doesn't taste right anymore, and that makes me very sad.
It is sad. We're gonna have to stop the game now. That makes me too
And then we
sad.
all go and make bacon in our
Eat
respective
bacon.
homes.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you know, I think there's even probably like a vendor, like a food cart, perhaps. Maybe a couple of them, like near the elevators down to the city proper.
That would make sense. People are hungry first thing in the morning.
And let's see, it is there is um a vendor who is selling flatbreads with like spiced beans. There's like a little kobold who has a kobold size. It's essentially like those little like a hibachi grill, like for your table.
Hmm.
And he's this kobold has a number of sticks of some kind of meat, and it smells great, heavily spiced, that he's kind of rolling, turns over every now and then stacks. There's like a platter on the side that he's stacking some onto. And there is a old woman with at the third and final cart, and she has like a big kind of flat top grill plate, and she's got some kind of like chicken and other stuff. That's the greatest, chicken and other stuff. It's like, and there's a lot of like this kind of stuff, arms, just food, sizzles, smells. You got to make a show of it,
Yeah.
the lunch crowd. And there's a number of folks getting food from these various carts, should you so choose.
Yeah, I'll stop and grab one of those spiced bean bun thingies and carry on my way.
Oh, that looks good. 2 of those.
Here you go.
Okay, I slip her. What is the appropriate amount of coin for this?
A couple of copper.
Okay, I will give her a couple of copper.
Yeah. And enjoy.
Will do. Thank you.
And she's like, the next person, it's like, it's one of those things where it's going at it, it's moving. Yeah, they're good. Kind of like a pocket pita sized thing with wrapped in paper or something.
Sounds good to me.
Right. So do we have a plan about what we're going to ask that druid?
I thought a little bit about it. I thought it might be good to ask him about I guess maybe what happened in the grove, or
Well, that's a courtesy. It's just a common courtesy.
Yeah.
Say about the dead people. We tried to clear it up.
well, that if anybody saw anything or anything, or if he knows anything about some Fey war,
Or about a red queen at all.
yeah,
That would be a great idea. Let's ask him what he knows about Fey courts.
it's kind of all I can think of. Yeah, but other than that, I don't know. I wish I knew more.
I mean, I didn't have to sleep all night. I just, did my little kind of shut down and stare. And I looked at my journal some more, but I don't think I got any more answers. I think I just got more confusion.
That's all right. Everything up here is just a chunky jumble of weird things that don't make any sense.
Yeah. And I had a
Why'd the arches take our memories? That is very weird and not explained anywhere by anyone.
well, how would we know? I mean, I guess the city has been here so long. I don't think anybody here is really from here. I mean, there's people who've been born here, but I don't think anybody can trace themselves back to like having always been here, if that makes sense.
It is one heck of a defense mechanism, though. If somebody tries to get over here to get to the city, they forget everything. So they're not going to be attacked by other people in other planes, or
unless, of course, they don't come by the arches like these red bastards that we fought, and they know exactly who they're trying to kill. And that's not fair. I don't like it.
That's true. But with the arches, if they were set up as a defense mechanism, you'd think that they would have set up something to undo the thing that they did just in case of an accident or
Or maybe
Um,
they did and it's just been lost because too many people were here that didn't remember and it got moved by somebody that didn't remember and then nobody knows what happened to it.
That's what I wonder. I mean, you'd think in a city like this, given the way it's protected, that we would still have the history of why it would all be like this, but we don't. We don't know if there was ever anything or anyone to it was nobody ever wrote anything down.
just means we're not important enough for anybody to care that we can't have our memories anymore. But maybe we should ask that druid.
I think so. Even if he doesn't know, maybe he can at least give us an idea or some clues.
That's fair.
And I just shove the rest of that bean bun in my mouth and I just go, so small. Just keep walking.
Same.
Yeah, you as you're talking, you take the elevator down, and it's like there's not really a guy in there, moving a rope, but
Or is there?
it's probably a counterweight. Let me look at the map. It's probably on the map. Zoom. Is there a picture of the elevator on the map? No, I don't see one. Or is it below this? It might be below the thing. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, and yeah, you make your way across kind of the main square by the baths. And as the usual, there are a number of people bathing, kids splashing about. Pretty common on a hot day like today, like any day, really. And you reach the Sunset Grove, and instantly it's way better. It's mo better. Because it's always a little cooler in the Grove, a little more temperate. And you can see that many of the fairy folk are back, have kind of returned to their homes and are going about their days, the dwellers of the Grove. And yeah, you kind of make your way to the center of the Grove, kind of where the arch is, and which is kind of where Grayson's yurt is. And you can see that he is sitting kind of in his usual spot, which is like a cool log, well worn. And there are a couple of perhaps young acolytes kind of sitting on the ground, kind of arrayed in front of him, and he is expounding on the benefits of some plant, perhaps luthuli, whatever. Why did fucking his wolf? God damn it, his wolf. I should really there. Let's just cut the end off. It's Luth. Luth.
It's a good name too.
Luth, yeah, Luth. His wolf is sleeping kind of curled up, kind of behind him. Yeah, that's kind of what you see as you approach.
Alright. I'll kind of wave a little bit at Grayson since I don't want to just totally interrupt him in the middle of his little philosopher study here.
A stray wants
He-
to see if they can sneak up on Luth and pet him sneakily.
Mm,
'Cause
okay.
everyone loves being touched sneakily.
This is my, yeah.
Listen, I was made to be creepy.
Fair.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Give me a stealth roll.
21.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me roll to see how he reacts. You definitely sneak up on him with no issue. Question is low good or bad? I think he'll take a bite at you.
I'm not surprised. I accept this.
But before we do, so let's back up just a sec. So you wave, Selma, you wave Grayson, and you see he kind of looks over and kind of gives you a nod, and turns back to his acolytes and is kind of continues on with whatever this lesson is. But you also kind of get to, if when you in these situations you can see that he's probably wrapping it up. You get that feeling, and nobody sees anything untoward until Luth kind of turns and like startles awake, like doesn't quite jump, but half jumps and oh wow, I just rolled the same number. I rolled another 2 and takes a like a lazy snap at a stray, who is now right at the wolf, like petting it. And
Yeah, I mean, I'll wait till he's done doing his thing and just be like, he's finishing up, I think.
Grayson is he's talking to these acolytes, and the properties of the alder root, blah 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 blah, and
We've all been
so,
we've all been there.
yeah, so go find some alder root and make it into a poultice, and then come find me when you're done. And they scamper off, and he turns and he says you should be careful. Luth is liable to take your arm off.
I mean, I'm slightly undead, so it might grow back. I don't know though. And then a stray just sits
He's
down
just
and
kinda-
thinks about
He's
that.
just kind of
It's-
like,
She's
"Mm."
my emotional support undead, though. Not a zombie. I point to the sign.
I see that. Yeah. So, odd, but to each their own. So, Selma, friends, please come sit. Can I offer you some tea?
I'm
Pine-
okay. I think.
Pine needle.
Oh. It's not that great.
I just like hold out my hands like
Yeah, he pours a cup of hot water off of the. He's got a kettle up by a fire nearby, and has some pine needles like tied up in a bunch. Hands you the mug.
oh, that's the stuff. Drinking my thing.
Mm.
An acquired taste for me. And she'll flutter over and just, I guess, sit by Grayson and be like, "So yesterday was tough, or last night was tough."
Yeah, many of the Bothans died. No, nobody.
No, I
So,
got it. I just chose
okay.
not to acknowledge it.
Oh, thank you. That's what I deserve.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go, brush right past that. When the, oh boy, where do we even start? So when those things fell, we went and chased after one, and it was a fairy, and he mentioned some things, including the red pole star queen. And then we went up the mountain and fought a satyr, and he also said some stuff that was a little rough and strange. They at least in part seemed to be here to arrest me. And I guess I'm curious, Grayson, if you know about maybe something about the slumberer between the stars, or the red pulsar queen, or some kind of war between fae.
He sets down his mug of tea and pulls out a flask.
Me too, Grayson.
Astray will take the amulet out of her pocket and kind of dangle it from her fingers and be like, and we got this off of the first one too, which I've seen before because I have notes about it in a journal, because I'm pretty sure I was an archaeologist. But yeah, so I took this just because I know it has meaning for stuff.
Yeah, and I think we were just wondering if maybe you knew of anything or had any information about, I guess, the fae or anything, because I can't remember anything, and I don't know if I'm a criminal or not.
I mean, we don't judge here.
Obviously.
All are welcome. That's
Awesome.
fair. Yes, these are troubling things, but the things that you say maybe ring. And he goes like this, and you can see that his lips move, although no sound comes out, and like he kind of like holds his hand up like this, and after a few seconds, a small number of winged mice fly out of his yurt door holding a large book.
Adorable. I love them. I will die. I will now die for them.
And they kind of deposit it in his hand, and it's a big book, and they're just they're like normal sized mice, so there's like 6 of them holding this thing up.
Once again, love them.
And
Look how wee they are.
They're so cute.
Astray definitely tries to pet one.
and Yeah, they set it down in his hand, and a couple of them kind of like land on him and um, land near any of you. Yeah, if you want to pet one of these flying little fairy mice, you can do so. You can coax it onto you. They're cute. There's this little faces.
Precious.
And he opens this tome, and it's like, museum level Bible tome, just huge. Smells of mahogany or whatever. And if you kind of look, he's not like hiding anything, but so if you look, you can see that it's a lot of like kind of handwritten notes, not unlike your journal, Astray. There'll be a bunch of text and maybe some diagrams or drawings of a lot of plants and figures and different creatures as well. And he says, yes. A few years ago, somebody had found a similar kind of pendant in the catacombs.
In the
In the-
catacombs.
hang on, give me a second. That's not entirely.
So someone
correct.
who had died?
It's
Not
down
in
there.
In the lost cisterns,
Cool.
and they had kept it and then had become odd. It had affected them in some way.
Do you
He
think
kind
it's
of-
cursed?
He kind of hold it up again, if you would. And he kind of holds up his book, and you can see that there's a fairly good drawing of one, and you can see that his drawing is form identical, like it could be the same amulet, but there are a few, almost looks like some other writing or some things that are on the one in the drawing that are different than what you have. Yeah, we myself and one of the clerics from the temple performed a ritual. It was cursed, and this fellow Jace had likewise been cursed by it, but we were able to clear him of his curse and ended up destroying this object.
I'm glad I didn't put it on.
It does look like there's different writing, like there was writing on this one that's not on the one that you have. I don't know.
Astray actually takes it sets the amulet next to the image in the book and then starts in her own journal drawing the differences.
Nice.
It's better safe than sorry.
I mean, did you touch it? Or, I mean, how many of you touched it? Did you touch it, Selma?
No, I don't think so.
I think I'm the only one that touched this amulet.
Right.
I don't feel like I have a fever or anything, so maybe I'm okay.
Do you feel cursed?
I mean,
Loaded question.
More cursed.
I don't feel any different
Yes.
from how I did before I touched it, so. But I haven't actually put it on, and maybe that makes the difference.
Well, let's not for now.
Yeah.
It might be safe. He says if you take this to I have a name. Nope. It's not that. Really? I don't have a name. Okay, hang on. I guess I gotta make up a cleric.
You just said the name Jace. I don't know if that was relevant, but
That was the person who found it
okay.
and was cursed. Let's go with real names. Oh yeah,
Easy
Cypriot.
cursed.
Cypriot names. There we go. Penelope. Sister Penelope.
Sister Penny.
It's cute. I love it.
If you go to the temple of the three sisters, Sister Penelope can help you. Perhaps she can determine if this is cursed or is similar to the object that was found all those years ago. But this is troubling indeed.
Also, there was the second one that we fought. He had already opened a door that the entire door was covered in a sealing spell, a binding spell. And there was another door within there that he was trying to get to, and it had a similar sealing spell. So if there's somebody that can reseal the first door, that probably.
Wait, do you mean in the cold place we were at?
Yes.
Yeah, this is up on the
Okay.
glacier.
Oh, and by the way, do any of you know what a scrape is?
Scraith.
Because
Where did you
lot
hear that
happened.
name?
Kide,
He kind of looks a little grave when you say that.
Kide has maybe heard a couple
it's
rumors.
I just
She's
saw
heard some rumors.
right it in the cave that something about a scrape.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Can I help
Can I
her
be
with that? Because
can I
I'm
do
also
Yeah.
deception instead?
I'm helping if that helps.
I would allow it. I'd allow it.
Okay.
And you get advantage.
Oh, that's not good. That's all right. I'm not a good liar.
Did you do it at advantage?
I did.
Okay. I gotta remember I have guidance. I keep
What did
forgetting
you
that.
what did you get?
A 12.
12.
Not so bad, I guess. For level 2. We are level 2.
I am sus.
Sus. Let's see. I gotta find this entry. He says, he kind of looks the three of you. Oh, where did everything go? Looks the three of you over and takes a sip of from his flask and kind of idly plays with. Does he have a beard? I feel like he should have a beard. Yep. His beard. And there is a creature. It's unknown, entirely a general, perhaps. Of the nameless king called Scraith.
General of the Nameless King?
The
Isn't the Nameless King the like old king that used to rule over this city that you've mentioned before?
very same. He was a powerful Efreet, a elemental of fire. I believe, as some would say, the sires of your race. Looking at,
Oh, the
Yeah.
the burning.
Yeah.
Yes.
So wait, you mean Scraith or the
Scraith.
demon, the kind of thing he was or is?
Efreet.
Efreet. He was like the great grandfather of Kide's race.
Oh,
I mean, more greats than that.
as like a, not necessarily him specifically, but it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, through myth and legend, the
Efreet.
the Genasi have descended from Efreet, I think. I think I remember that's how I don't remember. Yeah.
He married all the genies
Yeah.
or the forebears.
Huh.
But he was Scraith is someone, one of the pieces of the puzzle that is our city's history that has been pried out of the depths. So you just heard this name up in the mountain?
Well, we were fighting a satyr,
Mhm.
and he. Well, did you see the person that attacked the grove at all?
I did. I saw it as it made its escape.
What did you see what it was? Because there was a fairy out in the fields and a satyr.
Yeah, this one had a big red hat and a big white beard, like this wide.
Okay.
It was actually like a red cap.
Okay.
This time.
So I bet it was another. All right.
Not like a fake red cap.
Well, it's just they were saying all these strange things, and some of it jogged memory, and Scraith was just in there among other stuff, right, Kide?
It's possible that it's some kind of cult and they're trying to find Scraith or artifacts of theirs.
But they also they wanted to take me away, and they called They said the court has changed.
And they called her Errant Star.
And then
Yeah.
there was, I had this memory of the Court of Fallen Stars. And does the phrase slumberer between the stars ring any bells?
He pages through his book, and you see he kind of comes to a page, and on one page is a rough sort of drawing of that like fairy palace. And he says, yes. And he kind of, reads through the page, and he says there was a many years ago, there was a fairy not unlike yourself, whose name was Ariana. Ariana. I'm not
Grande.
going to say Ariana Grande, but
Oh,
I
it's
almost,
okay, 'cause I
really
did.
I really wanted to. Ariana, who studied with me for many years, and yeah, in the course of our study, she was able to regain some of her memories and described for me this palace, and spoke of a court, although she knew little of it. Something about knights who sparkled,
The Twinkling
or
Knights.
twinkled. Oh yeah,
The Twinkling
okay.
Knights.
Mm,
Yes,
heard
I
that.
you
I
kind of
rem-
light something in there.
I'm because I started remembering some of it too, and it was the Court of Fallen Stars, and it was the Hall of the Fallen Queen, and that's all I got. Jesus. But
Yeah.
I think that court has been taken over by someone else, and I think that's who attacked us all last night.
Troubling. I guess mostly troubling that they can accurately travel here.
Yeah, that was the other thing. If the one that you guys saw went through the archway, I worry that he'll be able to come back through the archway.
Yeah. He kind of looks off in thought, and give me 1 second. Scroll.
It's great. Where I immediately went. Also, shout out to Chad while he's scrolling to these
Right?
awesome dice containers that he sent us all.
That he made.
He made
Yeah.
this. It's so rad. And
It's
they
pretty
came
cool.
with dice and this cool little I guess it's a heads or tails kind of situation, because it's a little dice, but it's a two-sided dice. It's so cool. He also sent me soap. He sent us all soap.
Artisanal soap.
Artisanal. That's true. Artisanal.
Because we get artisanal soap upon arrival in the city of March.
We do. Oh, we all got a pamphlet. That's right. Sorry, additional goodies. We all got our welcome pamphlet.
Welcome to the city of Arches.
That's
Have some soap.
amazing.
I tried. I
We
spent
did
a
not
little
get
bit of time.
artisanal cheese though.
You
in that
didn't.
maybe.
I didn't want to try to send that in the mail. I
Yeah.
briefly considered like, here's a gift card for local artisanal cheese, but yeah. If I have a D12 that I got from a Kickstarter that is, so the Kickstarter was dice themed around the like NASA space travel. So like there were a set of D6s that made Apollo, like the 12 the whole rocket. It was super cool. But the D12 is the cheese moon. And if I could have gotten like a bunch of those, I would have sent that, because then it's cheese. Alas. He says, perhaps you could speak with Taryn White Whiskers of the Seekers of the Sun. They catalog and catalog a lot of knowledge. I can't speak. Knowledge about the arches and travel. I mean, he'd want to know about, I'm sure he knows about this, but he'd want to know what you know at least, and might be able to answer some more of those questions. Though I've been here for quite some time, my knowledge of how these archways worked is small, limited.
Well, I guess you should just be aware that that thing could come back at any time. We only took care of the first two.
Yeah.
And if they're soldiers from some court that destroyed or took over a kingdom or something, then they've got backup.
It's
That's
almost
amazing.
like they were able to track the fairies here. So I worry that they have some form of magic at hand that will unerringly guide them here without the use of stones or the arches.
Powerful scrying spells, perhaps, or crystal balls, sensors of great power.
Something.
It is troubling. We are keeping extra hands near the archway in case anything comes out. And you look and you can see that there are a number of like kind of druid acolytes around that by where the archway is, as well as a couple of gatekeepers. Wow, my brain. Gatekeepers, which are a more specialized organization than, say, the Golden Knights, which are more of a general security. The gatekeepers are really geared towards the gates, hence gatekeeper. They're kind of standing guard around this archway.
Right. Still, it probably would be good if we maybe institute a buddy system. Especially since they
Absolutely.
seemed to target the Grove.
It is the highest concentration of Fey folk in the city.
Yeah, that's a concern. All right. Well, thank you so much, Grayson. If you think of anything else or have any thoughts, let us know. We're gonna I guess keep digging into this.
It
Might as
seems
well.
it'd be it's good, but use caution if there are those who are in league or whatever with Scraith. The reputation that folk have gathered is bad.
Oh, so Scraith is a bad person. How do you said he was the founder of the city?
He was
General.
a general of some kind of the
Does
nameless
that mean
king.
the nameless king was bad and it's good that we don't have him anymore? I'm gonna go with yes.
Oh. Maybe it's not so black and white as that. I
It's
don't know.
possible.
A stray pulls down little pieces of her hair because it's black and white and looks. No, I think the world's pretty black and white.
Yeah, I guess. But people aren't.
I mean,
Hmm.
Astray is, but other people are.
Australians, yes. Not everybody. Some people are.
Some
like-
people are red and red.
Some people are a little blue.
It's true.
Right.
I'm blue. If I was green, I would die.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
I guess maybe you want to go see what Taryn White Whisker's up to, maybe? If you guys want
And
to.
I think that he would be the better one to see first, and then we should go talk to Penelope about this. And she makes the amulet dance.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Because if I keep holding on to it and it still curses me, then maybe we should leave it with Penelope and they know how to destroy it or something.
Grayson, would Penelope maybe know more about this Scraith guy as a cleric?
it's possible. Yeah, I would warrant perhaps that someone like Taryn, or if you could get somebody from Cartan to speak about it, they might know. They tend to be pretty tight-lipped mages and all. Perhaps if you could get an audience with uh,
So, oh my God, I've been trying to get a popcorn
Wow.
kernel out of the back, like
oh, it's the worst.
no, it was the you know where you get your wisdom teeth removed and there's like a little sort of scar there. It was in that.
Mhm.
Ugh, oh my God, I'm so for the past like 5 minutes I've been like,
It's the
Fair.
worst.
How long did you get your wisdom teeth out? Like recently?
oh God, no, it's been years, but there's
Oh, I have
still
scars where all of mine are too. and
yeah,
all
there's
pretty
like
good
a
and
it's
stuff.
like a little divot or a dip in the back gums behind my teeth where there's still sort of a scar.
I don't have any.
You're lucky.
I don't
Probably that.
if for what it's worth, I don't have them on the top, but I do have them on the bottom.
I have them in
Wisdom
all
teeth
of
or
that.
scars?
Scars.
I don't have scars from my wisdom teeth getting taken out.
Nice. Not all
Well-
orthodontists are the same.
That is
I
true.
got-
Well, and not all wisdom teeth are the same.
I must
Yeah.
have had a really good person back
It's
in
all
the
good. It's all good. I don't usually get stuff. It's like very, very rare I get anything stuck in them, but it's almost always a little teeny tiny popcorn kernel
Yeah.
that I'm like,
Yeah, mine's always like in the lip, in the space between your gum and your tooth.
yeah, that
Like,
fucking. Mm-mm,
I've had to
that's
Back in the
not good.
mole. It's always back in the molar.
I had to have one surgically removed. So for a long time I didn't eat popcorn.
I can't give it up. It's my vice.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. My apologies. I was just so relieved.
Oh, that's yeah.
I needed to share.
100% understand.
We love our tangents
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
Every now and then we gotta have one. It's
The
all right.
more you know.
He says, let's come up with somebody. There's probably somebody cool. Let's pick an Egyptian name. Ancient or modern? Quick.
Ancient.
All right. Named. Wow.
Good luck.
Yeah.
How about
Just said
shoe?
modern.
Hotep. Bath Hotep.
Oh, I was gonna say how about shoe? SHU. It was a god of the wind.
Nice. We'll go with that. SH, that's way better than me trying to say Thoth Hotep every time. There's also a Shu who is a golden knight who, if memory serves, is a part of a cult task force. Cult task force? Yeah, fuck it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds,
Bureau
that
of-
sounds cool.
The Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. That's what it is.
Bureau for cults.
As I have access,
So we need you
access
to go over to
the
the cult
PDF,
desk.
there are so many. Mike Shea, who wrote this, loves cults and cultists, and there's so many different cults in here. So of
Love a-
course there's got to be a cult task
I
force.
love a good cult.
Yeah, right.
Who doesn't?
So yeah, Shu of the Golden Knights might be somebody to talk to as well, who is on the cult task force.
Great. Love it.
No, we might have already talked to her, in fact, or them, when we cleaned up that little matter a few days ago.
Oh, that's true.
Because we killed some cultists.
Wait,
That is
wait,
true.
wait a minute. What if what's her name? The lady, she's still alive, remember? We arrested
What if
her.
they were trying to summon? No, there was a different. That was a demon they were trying to summon. That
Right. That was a demon.
Still, it might be worth going down to the jail. Worth a shot.
Are you saying all cultists know each other?
I mean, maybe.
What do you mean, you cultists?
Maybe.
Never go full cultist.
I'm here for the meeting. Oh, sorry.
Wrong cult.
Wrong
Wrong
meeting.
cult meeting. My bad.
Oh, this isn't the AA meeting I wanted. That's tomorrow night.
Like, oh, I see goat head and pentagram. Nope. Other building.
Yeah, we're deer skull and upside down crosses.
All right. Well, we got some options. Maybe we should save talking to Shu for when we've got Henri with us, since he knows the Golden Knights.
Mm.
Would make sense.
Okay.
Wasn't it Taryn White Whiskers that gave us the job to go hunt down those first cultists too?
Was it? I have no
It might
idea.
have been.
I don't remember.
DM.
Who's our boss?
Yes. So
I thought I remembered correctly.
yeah.
Give me through my notes.
I have so many. I've really made the bad choice of writing down all my notes in the notes section in D&D Beyond.
Mm.
So I have to like try and figure out where it all the fuck it is.
Yeah, you wow. What the fuck was that guy's name? Where are my notes on that guy? So yeah, ultimately, yes. Taryn White Whiskers is kind of the guy you did work for.
We had an intermediary with the.
Yep. Yeah, there
that
was an
summoned
intermediary
Hams, but-
guy who's, why didn't I write his name down in this place where I would have written his name down?
Wasn't it actually Savage and the people that run Savage and Yams were intermediary?
You met him there because he likes
Okay.
to drink there.
Oh,
That's his office.
okay.
Yeah.
He likes it because of the beer that just keeps coming.
Maybe it's in
Saves
my-
on rent too.
Maybe it's in here. Down in here. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a guy that I have written down somewhere that I can't find right now. But yeah, there's an intermediary that you know that you've dealt with. You have his contact information. But ultimately, yes, you did that job for the Seekers of the Sun, who Taryn White Whiskers is essentially the leader of the de facto, well, he's high up guy. He is known as Sun Seeker, Archivist, and Mage. So, yeah.
Well then, thank you, Grayson and Luth. I'm sorry I scared you. Let's go to Seven Camps and see if we can't talk to Taryn.
Sounds good. Thank you, Grayson. Be
Welcome.
careful out there.
Bye. I'm not a zombie.
Be safe.
Your home is lovely.
Thank you.
Bye.
And as you leave, these acolytes run back up and are presenting some kind of poultices to him, and he goes back to instructor mode. Yeah, and you make your way
Making my way.
The Savage and Gam.
to Savage and Gams. And
No, I think he was a lot less disturbed than I thought he was going to be after all that information.
He's a pretty even-keeled guy.
But maybe we shouldn't tell everybody everything.
I agree. I did oops a little bit there because I do trust. I pretty much trust Grayson. He's kind of been he's been really helpful to me the last few years. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to spill the beans on Gray.
Well,
Learn
no, it's
something.
not so much the scrape but the voice that came into my head might be.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. Yeah, sorry. I caught myself though.
Right. Maybe we can find a little bit of information without divulging all like secret mountain hideouts and
Well, I do
people
think
that
if
are
we
personally
find
hunting you
somebody-
that might want to capture you for money, that kind of thing.
I do worry about the voice thing though.
Well,
Just-
it was only the once, so as long as nobody else goes up there,
But I think when we talk to Penelope about the amulet, I think she would be the person to talk to about maybe getting somebody up to the cave and resealing that door. So there's 2 sealed doors between.
instead of just the one.
or possibly a guard as well. If
Yeah.
they're going after it, that can't be good.
Something in there is necessary for their ends, and we don't want them to reach those ends. So figuring out how to stop them from getting in there would be good.
Yeah, I don't get the impression that they are up to anything nice.
So Taryn, we're going to talk to expressly just about
Arch security?
The arches, I guess, in general, since what did I
well,
write down?
I forgot to take detailed notes about why we were going to see him. I've put
Mm,
notes.
I I wrote down Seekers of the Sun, they catalog knowledge about the arches and
Yes,
travel.
okay.
So they may be able to give us some insight on
Where the one went and if he can come back. That's why we
Yeah.
want them. Yeah.
yeah. And then or maybe could we follow them? Da, da,
Well, I don't
da.
for the most part, people leave by the arches. I think that's the first time. I mean, at least that I've seen it. I've only been here a couple of days, but from what I've overheard, nobody goes and leaves through the arches.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you
I've
think
never
if you left through the arch, would you get your memories back?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, maybe we should ask a Terran.
Or at least our intermediary with the Sun Seekers.
Mhm.
But yes, only about the arches. That's the only thing we talked to Seekers of the Sun about, and then Penelope about the amulet and the cave. And yeah, and then Shu later about cults.
Gotcha. Okay.
So maybe y'all should do the talking because we know I talk too much.
Okay.
I'm not exactly the charming one either.
I'm okay. My charisma's 11.
Oh,
We
I am more charming than you.
My girl was a 13.
yeah, no,
I'm
yeah.
a 13.
Everything I have is I have Dex, intelligence, and wisdom are my only pluses, and then my strength is a negative.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm a baby. It's a shame we don't have Henri with us. He's he's such a good talker.
He is.
But I just know that because I get really fidgety when I'm not actively like out doing something that has to do with like, imminent death, I get fidgety and that means I talk a lot. So I will try and be quiet.
We'll do our best. Basically, I think just don't mention the voices or Scraith necessarily, or the fact that I'm wanted. Gosh, that's weird. Okay.
Let's do this because we haven't done this yet. So why don't the three of you each give me a charisma saving throw?
Also, I'm a liar. I thought Henri had better charisma than all of us. He has a -1. I just looked at
Does he?
I looked at our character sheet.
Oh,
He's not that.
man.
He's so good at talking. I was like, he surely has a great charisma.
No.
I rolled an 11.
Okay.
I'm gonna use my new
18.
dice.
What was that, Ashley?
18.
18.
8.
8?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Solid single digit.
The dice will choose.
They always do. Let's see. Selma. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Let's take a break. Which will allow me time to figure out what this guy's name is because it's really pissing me off. But yeah, we'll take like a 10-minute break, get refreshed, stretch your legs, do those things. Viewers, hello, thank you for sticking with us. And as you know, as we put puzzle pieces together or figure out that there are in fact puzzle pieces. Yeah, always remember, if you like to look good, we can assist with that. If you go check out our merch link, you can buy really awesome shirts, not unlike the shirt Kristen is wearing that says emotional support undead.
Just in case you need your own emotional
In case
support.
you need
undead.
your own. Yep. That helps us out and helps you out. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll see you then.
Woo!
Mom doesn't feed you till late.
Hello.
Hello.
We're back. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here when we came back, or thank you for joining us after the break. However you have gotten here, we are thankful. I hope it was refreshing. It was refreshing and a little weird because we talked about political intrigue. Turns out it's always a trip.
It's always a journey.
Yeah.
Always a journey.
But here we are. You are on your way to Savage and Gams, where you know that, yes, Chance Redbeard, your contact with the Seekers of the Sun, likes to hang out. Some would say it's a working office. And yeah,
He
the
does
city
working lunch theirs, and working lunch lasts his whole day.
all day. Yeah. And what do I got? Let me see. Let me do a real quick thing here. Find a D10 just to see.
The random rolls. Oh no.
Yeah.
We're not currently on
Oh.
any business for him, are we?
You are not currently.
We
We've
just completed one and then
completed one, and we haven't gotten to a point where I have given you. We have got to a new mission yet. So you are making your way,
making our way.
making our way across the city. And it's a busy afternoon. It is, wow, I believe it is. This isn't helpful at all. What kind of day is it? No. No, that's shit. I don't want that.
I mean, it doesn't matter what day it is if we're inside a pub.
Well,
Does it look like Savage and Gams has been cleaned up at all?
once you get to the pub,
Oh, from the party?
It's pretty
Fairies
rough.
everywhere.
Fairy rave, baby.
David the gnome is still drinking at his table.
I think it's Ravens Day. It doesn't matter. It's it's middle of the week. It's middle of the week. It's a busy afternoon. There are a number of people kind of coming and going from the marketplace, which is of course the area kind of around and in front of Savage and Gams, and you are moving through the marketplace. And why don't everyone give me a perception roll? We'll do it. We'll do it that way.
Pretty good.
With my +0. Got it.
Perception. Okay.
You have a negative one.
Key
So-
day did so good.
7.
Worry, guys. I got a 22.
I got 12.
12, 22. Okay. Selma, you're maybe flying a little above, and you kind of spot this small group of individuals, perhaps first. And you see that there are a group of like 4 figures, and they're kind of moving. You can see that they're kind of moving as a group, and like almost kind of like ultimately beelining for your group as you are moving. And they are kind of dressed kind of plainly, normally, loose, kind of fitting, kind of, I guess, robes, which is a normal style of dress for people here, as it is very hot. And they have head wraps, and you can see that they, two of them, especially with a 22, two of them definitely have like one hand in a robe, perhaps as if they were clutching something.
I mean, I'm gonna duck down a little bit. Like if I was flying a little above everybody's heads, I'm gonna go down a little bit and be like, people are coming towards us and they might have weapons.
Astray palms 2 daggers, like in her own robe or cape or thing.
Clothing.
Yeah, I'll kind of. Which are they? Like to the left, to the right? Which direction, sort of, are they coming from?
Sure, they're kind of on an intersecting path. We'll say from the left.
All right.
So they're kind of coming, yeah, from the left.
Yeah, so I'll let these two know they're coming from the left in robes and headdresses. Or head wraps, not headdresses. Be great if they were wearing big ornate, but no.
Like showgirl.
Like,
kinda-
woo!
We would notice them then.
Carnival!
But
Fruit baskets.
fruit, everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just making sure these two know that somebody's coming our way.
And you very shortly kind of see these 4 individuals kind of like, not like power walk, but it's like almost a power walk.
With
Like they're
purpose.
on a mission. Yeah. And they walk up and stop maybe like 5 or 6 feet from you. And people kind of see this and kind of move around and kind of, they start to, like there's a definite palpable air of danger, and people are kind of giving space. And yeah, you see 4 individuals in kind of plain looking clothing. 2 of them are human. One is a kind of a white guy, and one of them is a much darker complexion. And there is a red-skinned person. Maybe you can even see perhaps what would be horns, like kind of just poking the head wrap. And the 4th one is we'll say is a elf.
Just elf.
Yeah, it's a just regular old elf, and the one of the dark skinned human steps forward and is a man, clean shaven, scar on the, like, across one eye. And he says in a kind of a conversational tone that edges sharply, he says, "You have some things that don't belong to you."
I don't know why you'd think that.
We're not here to cause any problems. What exactly are you looking for?
Perhaps a skull. Black.
Nope, only skulls we got are up here.
Why would you be looking for a skull?
It's ours. We found it.
If you found it, why don't you have it?
Well,
Sounds like you lost it.
that's the trouble with things. They switch hands far too often.
Can a stray, by sleight of hand, since she would know where Kide keeps the skull on her, get it and hide it on her own person, since she's more likely to be able to hide it well from them?
Sure. Give me a
They
sleight of
don't
hand
know that
roll.
I have it.
Yeah.
It might be in our year. Is it in our year? Or did you
No,
bring
it's on me.
Oh, okay.
That was my first question, but I feel like I remember you were looking at it last night, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but
I don't
That's a
know that I-
natural 20 for a 26.
okay. Yeah, we are now playing the shell game with a skull.
I
Um,
have more than one skull in my bag.
I know that's true. That's true. This one is quite a bit different than the other skull. This person, the lighter complexion human, a female, although she does have a beautiful mustache.
Gustavo Mustachio.
Yeah. says she says, oh no. We know that you, oh come on, my notes are so dumb. We know we know that hang on, just I have it. It's right.
Do their robes look like cultist robes?
Give me a Nirvana, that's her name. Give me a perception roll.
That's the name of the cult leader we took captive.
Nirvana.
Nirvana, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Did
a
you get another
natural one.
Natural one.
For one.
Yeah. Yeah, they
I have no clue what cultists even are anymore.
right. Wait, how did I get in the city? Where am I? Yeah, you don't notice anything like identifying in that way on them. The woman says, the mustachioed woman, she says, we know you were the ones who captured Nirvana.
But we don't have her.
But you have
Or
the
her
skull.
items. We
We
turned it over to the Golden Knights.
We handed her over to the city guard.
The knights don't have the skull.
Maybe they threw it out. The skull. Or they destroyed it because it's obviously, evil ritualistic skull magic.
Like the tiefling is a tiefling. The tiefling starts like, yeah, like he's like the giddy, like young cultist. It's like, yeah, evil's call magic.
Remember
They
what I said about making friends. Just
they the the man, the human man, looks over your shoulder and says, we'll come back to this. And they kind of move and kind of disperse into the crowd.
I look to see what they saw. What is
There's you can see that there's a couple of golden knights kind of walking into the square, into the marketplace.
now? How would a couple of cultists know whether or not a certain object came in with a prisoner or not?
And whether or not the Golden Knights have it. So I was gonna try and use sleight of hand to put it back in Kide's bag without her noticing, but I rolled a natural one for that.
Did you just steal from me? I just like grab it out of your hand. No, bad undead.
I can hide things better,
put
so
it
I wanted
back
to
in
make
my
sure that
bag.
if they like started to search us, but I was giving it back.
I don't think we would have let them search us. I would have started hitting people.
No, we could have taken him.
Yeah,
We were outnumbered. We don't have
By-
army.
by one, and we're surrounded by people.
That doesn't always mean anything. I don't know why I know that, but I know that.
Well, I think we can probably assume that Henri was right to mistrust the city guard after last night. Because the more we kind of,
It sounds like the cultists have an inside man.
It
yeah,
does.
which makes me worry that maybe, I forgot her name already, and you just told me it,
Ravana.
Nirvana. Makes me worry that she might get loose.
I spelled mustachioed correctly the first time.
Good
Wow.
job.
It's a talent that few can muster.
All right, that's I'm done. That's great. That's amazing. Yeah.
We can
Yeah,
call
and,
it a night. He spelled a very
yeah,
long
it's
word
spelled a
correct.
weird, crazy word. It's spelled exactly like you would think it would be spelled. And as they disperse, the crowd kind of like moves back in, and people are coming and going as if everything was normal.
Hmm.
Well, I would say we should probably report this, but I'd feel a little bit better if Henri were here when we did it.
Yes.
So maybe we seek refuge in Savage and Gams, where we're probably not going to get jumped. But we're in the middle of the bazaar here, so I don't think that they're that afraid of starting something.
Yeah, but Savage and Gams is full of. I just feel like everybody in Savage and Gams is dangerous and a little bit off the rails.
It's a tourist bar.
And
yet-
how?
That's
and
fair.
somehow
They're used to dealing with drunk foreigners.
This is
I
true.
just feel like I feel like it's the difference between like the one bar you probably want to be in if you're being like chased by somebody or something is the bar
run into
full of
the-
like
The bikers. that'll
yeah,
have
like
your
the
back.
drunk kind of
Yeah.
idiot bikers who are like, what? What's wrong? What's the matter? Who is it? It's like, yeah, you got me.
As long as you're also a biker.
If you just look cute enough, maybe they'll be like, this is a wiener.
That's fair.
This is just a big baby. I'm just gonna scurry into Savage and Gams.
Yeah.
With your tiny little fairy legs.
I did the like, I like looked at it the other day. I pulled out a measuring tape and I was like, she's fucking small. Woo! Like literally up to my knee. Amazing.
So yes, into Savage Games and looking for Chance.
Redbeard.
Yeah. Yeah, you make your way in. God damn it. You enter Savage and Gams. Of course, the well-known and respected Enton owned and operated brew and gastro pub here in Munahalan, decorated as if it was a TGI Fridays, but fantasy. And you can see, at one end, at the like the open kitchen, just big fucking Eton hands, just Swedish chefing dishes together on the cook line. And the normal kind of folk in there, and you search around, scan the bar, and yeah, you see Chance Redbeard is sitting at a table. Looks like he's eating a plate of some kind of he's got like some sticks, and he's like dipping them in a sauce.
Why?
They're fantasy French fries.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with mozzarella sticks.
It's cheese. You dip them in a plum sauce. It's great.
Oh, I like that. It's mozzarella sticks.
Delish.
Mr. Redbeard.
Please sit down.
We could use some information and or advice about certain things that have happened in the last few days.
Sure. You weren't. Where's the other fella? Was he killed?
No, he's fine. He had
around.
some business to take care of today, so he'll probably join us later. So last night was weird.
I'll say.
I go to
Shit
sit
falling
in
out of
the
the sky. People
I
get
go to
murdered.
sit in the booth and I like bang my knee on the table.
How do we?
Careful there.
I can't get used to it.
I forgot what we came to ask this guy.
The
arches.
So last night, the one that went through the arch. As far as we know, people don't leave through the arches; they just arrive through them.
Went through an arch.
So there,
Yes,
there were
He
three,
escaped through an arch.
and they
So there was the things that fell from the sky were actually fey creatures that were attacking other fey creatures, and that's why all these fey creatures are in here now.
Yeah, they killed several people in the Druid Grove.
2 of them have been dealt with, but the third one, the actual one that did the murdering in the Druid Grove, people saw him escape out through one of the arches.
Oh,
I mean, is that normal? Have you ever seen anybody go through an arch before?
I haven't. No. And
Well, Grayson told us that we should come talk to you or someone in the Sunseekers, and possibly even Taryn himself if it comes to that, because it's very disconcerting that somebody made it out through an arch.
And seemingly on purpose too. Like, obviously.
And also that they found us in general.
Yeah, like, pretty much everybody out here that we know of has come through the arches by accident, presumably, or at least with no intent, or at least, we ended up here But he came, oh, now I'm just kind of realizing he came from the sky and then went through an arch.
So he might have had all his memories. Like he shouldn't have had a memory wipe or anything. So he left through an arch. So I don't know if he's somewhere without any memories, or maybe we don't even know if it works that way when you go through the other way.
Or there is some place, this fake port or whatever that he came from. Maybe they know how to activate these arches, and since they didn't come through and lose their memories, he knew how to utilize it.
Do you think that maybe that particular portal is a portal directly to the Fae realm?
He's a little bombarded.
I just reach over and I start eating his French fries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want. And he you gonna download? There we go.
Server, 2 more of these things. I point towards the French fries.
He to go.
Oh,
And he
it's like
says,
that, is it?
he says, yeah, wow. I hadn't heard all that. Anyway, yeah, let's get you to somebody above me anyway. This is some stuff.
Is it above your pay grade?
Well, it's yeah. And after like a minute or two, very quickly, because fries are always ready, and a server comes out with 2 like paper bags,
Cones.
2 cones of fries, and he pays. He says, I got this. And he leads you in kind of a winding way through, oh no, shoot, through the streets.
I just am like double fisting fries. Like the streets just
Perfecto. Also, I feel like I just had a really great idea. So excited.
Also, look at that fancy pamphlet.
I know, I'm loving this because the map is in there.
yeah.
The map's
Welcome
in
to
there.
the city of Arches.
And it has all the has a little directory of where everything is all numbered. And then on the back there's new arrival services and coupons for lodging, pint and a meal, provisions, work, and entertainment. There's also a little
Market Square open daily.
Yeah.
Ooh, fancy.
Job
Yeah,
postings found.
the I think it's the back, the middle section of the wordy, not the map part, is essentially the coupons.
Yeah, I was just reading those. They're really good. Present this brochure at Scavenge and Gams to receive a complimentary pint and meal.
But
Yeah,
anyway.
he leads you through down some roads and through some back alleys, and there's definitely like I'm pretty sure we just walked through somebody's house, and then into another road, and you end up in a kind of a stone, like a courtyard, and kind of a paved, if you can see the VTT, I just threw an image in the VTT that I just quick Google or Adobe stock searched. So I have all the rights to this image. And yeah, it's a flag, polished flagstone kind of courtyard. And there's a kind of a pagoda structure thing in the center of the courtyard. There's a number of like alcoves and then entrances to the various buildings. And sitting in one of the alcoves, there's like a bench, and there's a gnome. God damn, my brain. A gnome.
Words are hard, y'all.
Words are hard.
Ooh, big stretch. Oof, very good, my boy. Very good.
There is an old looking gnome. It's got the big kind of bulbous nose, white beard, and nice robes. Has like not a pointy hat, but he has a hat on. He's not wearing like a head wrap or anything. And he's got a number of different kind of scrolls and books and things around him that he's kind of like looking through and reading. He's got a pot of tea, and there is you can see that there's also a white weasel is sitting on the bench next to him, who is also reading a scroll, appropriately sized for a weasel. It's a weasel scroll. And
Weasel
Chance
is smart.
Chance kind of stops a small distance from him, and kind of coughs, and he says, Archivist White Whiskers. And the gnome man, doesn't even really look up, and he says, yes, Chance, what can I do for you? You've brought guests. You can see that he has gold teeth. And he says, these are 3 adventurers we had hired recently for the cultist job, and they have information about the incident last night and
Yes.
questions. And he
So,
says, come. And he kind of waves you forward. He sets down some of his scrolls. The weasel just keeps reading, though. You witnessed the falling stars, or perhaps the murders.
Well,
all of it?
so there wasn't
No, we didn't
stars.
witness any murders, actually.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no,
the
we
aftermath.
didn't see
We
murders.
we arrived in the grove after one of the fallen people came in and slaughtered everyone, and then he left through a gate.
He activated it and actually went through, like he
Well,
had.
That's what we were told, that he had activated it.
Yes. And they've put extra guards, and there's also druids on some of the gates in case he comes back through. But it's very concerning that nobody in the city that we have know of.
Not a thing that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a thing that happens? Because
Is it?
He
I mean,
gets
gates
we don't
work
know.
both ways, but from what I've seen, people don't leave through them because that knowledge is lost.
Well, you've only been here like 3 days.
I think it's 4 now.
that's fair.
I'm very sure that this never happened.
He looks a little excited, like he perks up, like his posture changes, the weasel puts down its reading, and
Oh, now we have your attention.
you know, he says it went through the portal, went through the archway.
We
The
didn't
one-
see this ourselves, but if you go down and talk to the gatekeepers, some of them did witness.
And several of the fairies, or the fairies of the grove, did see it because they were hiding because he was killing people. So there are witnesses to attest to it.
Hmm.
And I guess our questions are: has this ever happened before? Or, you know,
Do you have any record of anyone ever leaving through a gate?
Let's have some kind of charisma based roles.
okay.
Perhaps a persuasion or
I'll do
yeah.
a
convincing.
I can try. I mean, I have a 0, but
15.
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's actually really good. I rolled an 18. I don't add or subtract anything to it, but together we're
aha.
just so
I'm
cute.
using my fancy metal dice, and I couldn't read it. That is an 18 total.
Wow.
And he says, well, if your chance vouches for you, you've done work for us. Perhaps we'll do some again. We Sunseekers our main goal is to find ways through the archways. They are mysteries, and we can't help but unlock them. But it is rare to find the keys that open them.
So you actually have to have a key to get through it?
Yes. We've found and cataloged a small few. They tend to be slippery things.
What do they usually look like?
They can look like anything, really. They I switched voices. They he has like a higher pitched voice, right? They yeah, they can take many forms. Many, now he's East Coast. Many
get
many
there.
many forms. I'll figure it out. Many forms. Some of them can even change their form after they've been used. Some kind of, no one's really sure if it's something that whoever made them coded into them, like enchanted into them, or but we have a couple. The Golden Knights have a small number. I'm sure there are others in the city who have
They don't get used.
some. Very rarely traveling out of the gates.
Well, if it helps at all, the beings that landed were all fey creatures, and I don't know if they tracked things here or what, but if he had a key, then that means maybe they might be fey
Hmm. And you, they,
If the keys can change form and they can look like anything, how do you know that you actually have a key?
you can feel it in your bones.
like it vibrates your bones?
I mean, they're magical, right?
So when you pick it up, you know, oh, this is a key to, and maybe even which gate?
Not always. Some are more obvious. One of the ones that we have is anybody would know it's a key, but some of them are more subtle.
So you just one day walk around and find a magical boot or something and say, ah, the gate key.
Yes.
Great then.
It's not a perfect thing, but it's the world we live in.
But basically, we just wanted to come and talk to you about how often it might happen and what it would entail, and to let you know that it did happen.
I guess, yeah, this is interesting because they must have come with a key. The likelihood of showing up, falling from the sky, killing some people, and finding a key is
They didn't have a
Not
lot of
likely.
time to do
extremely
that.
unlikely.
While this conversation's happening, Selma is gonna take out her star maps and she's just gonna start flicking through them and looking for something.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the one I took notes on the other day about the Eastern Eye and the Pearl Tortoise. Which I imagine I probably put them together at one point, and they're just like.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there we go. Yeah.
I think I know where they came from.
Do you remember something?
The other day, before we met up at the eastern wall, I was doing a little just sort of personal research, and she holds up her star maps, and she will lay them down on the table, and she'll show off where she's sort of corresponded a constellation from on another map for Airwind, a constellation called the Eastern Eye that corresponds to another map, another constellation in the map called the Pearl Tortoise. They're like super similar within a star's similarity of each other. And she has a little piece of like scribbled paper where she's copied down a piece of a poem that speaks about star children falling from the sky, and then riding the Pearl Tortoise. And she's like, I connected these things the other day, but I didn't really get what they meant. I just sort of had a feeling about them, and I didn't think about it until just now and a little earlier, because we were talking about how they didn't come through an archway. They came from the sky. And I just wonder, it's still maybe.
Can
Maybe
Estray
this
look over at the star maps and look at the drawings in her own journal that were about the corresponding constellations to the burial mounds in the pit and see if it looks similar?
Yes, and I did my homework. Um, yeah, give me an intelligence roll.
Slurpee just tipped over all my dice.
That's a 6.
Slurpee.
Oh me.
He's like, fireball.
Give me one. I'm gonna take. Give me one. Give me 1 second.
You look at her maps and your map.
And hers are so fancy that I can't figure it out.
Well, they're different. So the map you have from your journal from this burial is a constellation called the Emerald Boar. And it is a different constellation.
Okay. And I wouldn't notice any similarities because I rolled a 6.
Correct. And he says, Taryn gets a little excited as you kind of, bust out your notes because he loves notes.
We love notes.
The
Just
white,
starts salivating.
the weasel comes over and starts excitedly looking at the maps.
I keep on thinking the weasel is Malfoy. I mean, I know he was turned into a ferret, but close enough.
It could be a person. I mean, we're in the Druid Grove.
You never know.
He says, "Oh, this is good. This is very good." Are you a great scholar? Wow.
I don't know. Ever since I came here, I've sort of been charting the stars, and I don't know if it's a hobby or more of an obsession. I kind of can't help myself. And I just sort of, some things came to light about myself, and I had some memories return this past 24 hours.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah, nothing that really explains. It's still very confusing. But if they fell from the sky, and I know there's other things about the court of fallen stars, and maybe there's some place up there. It's still daytime, right?
Yes.
Maybe a trip to the observatory would be a good idea tonight.
Yes, that might not be a bad idea. You can see now that the weasel has a weasel notebook and is dictating. Is that right?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
when he writes down.
Taking dictation.
Taking dictation, yes, of everything that you're saying. And Taryn says, this would explain some things, perhaps. There are theories some have had that when you look up at the sky at night and you can see these other places, some people have said that perhaps they're really there and you can somehow get to and from can't imagine how a person would fall from one to the other. That sounds
How does
insane.
one
Are
travel
you
into the sky?
saying that maybe like the veil between worlds is thin there?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's
Perhaps if
possible.
they have a way to,
Maybe it's because of the weird waviness of the sky here.
but maybe, maybe that's just crazy talk. But this
It's
is
a
very
theory.
interesting though.
I would ask that you maybe keep it a little bit quiet at the moment, just because there's cultists running around, and it's strange times.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we were approached by a number of people that we could identify as cultists that kind of gave us a hard time before we got into the Savage and Gams.
They're
like
connected.
this afternoon?
to- yes,
Hmm.
they're connected to the cultists that we brought back on our sojourn.
Right.
For
The
you.
job that we did for you.
Abraxas. Wait,
Nirvana?
Demon?
Abraxas. Yeah, that's the demon. That's the cult. Children of Abraxas. The Abraxians. Despicable cultists. Always
Well,
digging up bones.
we were a little worried because it seemed like they had information that happened to that cultist after she was arrested. And
Hmm.
that means that they have some way of contacting her, or someone is
But-
contacting on her behalf.
Since she's in jail. So maybe just be careful a little bit.
It is troubling.
And we think they might have an inside man or more in the Golden Knights because they thought we had something that we do not have. And they said that they know that the Golden Knights don't have it.
And how would they
Also,
know that?
also troubling.
So we're investigating, sort of, to the best of
They
our
are-
ability.
They are cultists, but it is possible they've turned some folk. Mm,
But I trust telling you that since you were the one who hired us to go after them in the first place.
good. And I appreciate your trust. We, Joffrey and I have added your words to our notes.
Is Joffrey your weasel?
Yes, he is my familiar.
Hi, Joffrey. You're very cool.
And Joffrey offers you a salute.
I would die for Joffrey.
That's fair.
Still want one of those winged mice.
He says, yeah, I'll have some of our people look into this and perhaps we'll put you on the short list, as it were, in case if things come up.
We
Jobs,
would
tasks.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you'd be
Oh.
happy to help.
Always looking for a way to earn a little bit of money.
That sort of thing.
All right. Well,
Yes.
if that's all we've got for now.
Out of
Oh.
character, I would ask, I guess, is is that like, is that a satisfaction? Does that satisfy you? Is that a,
I mean, do you have any more information on what you know about the arches? Could, if he went through, could he come back through the same way?
Without losing his memories.
and the memory, that's the thing. We, in our experience, and we've sent some of our agents through the arches, those that we have keys for. They don't lose their memory per se. And oftentimes in our experience, the travel through the arch is oftentimes of a limited duration. There is a kind of like a magical tether, perhaps a function of the key or maybe the arch itself. We sent somebody, I recall, through an arch into the realm Threska, and they were there for maybe 3 bells, and then they were ratcheted back, which I guess it turned out to be a good thing, because they were in a bad way. They had battled some guardians on the other side of the gate, and it had pulled them back through, and somebody had been through a different gate to Mathor, but were only able to be there for a few heartbeats before they were forced back. We haven't yet been able to figure out and decipher those, what of the
So this guy must have had a different key than the keys that you have had if he hasn't sprung back.
Or he has a way of disguising himself and he's already back in the city.
none of those are, neither. Slurpee.
Sorry, he
Nah.
was gonna start stepping on the keyboard, so he's in my arms now.
Neither of those are good possibilities. I'll send somebody around to speak with the gatekeepers and let them know this is good information. I wish I could be more helpful. But again, this is an ongoing discovery.
We're still figuring
Research.
stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're all just still figuring it all out. I think if we learn anything more, we'll definitely come back to you. And I'm definitely gonna go to the observatory tonight and check and see if I can't maybe piece something together or see something. I don't know.
We've got a couple other stops to make to talk to some people about various things, but we will keep you in the loop on anything we learn about the arches.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, think of us when you are thinking about jobs to give out.
Yes.
Will
Um,
do.
Yes.
Yes,
And-
if we have any tasks, Chance, put them on the short list. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And thanks for the fries, Chance.
I
This
just
is-
realized I'm still walking around with a placard that says "not a zombie."
Not a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of picks up a book and is kind of just kind of like, I'm reading now. as you know,
I'll
his
wave at Joffrey and then walk back to where Chance is.
I'll flutter my way off.
all right.
I'll follow them.
He says, that was, I hope, satisfactory.
We learned some
Yeah.
things and we learned him some things. So
Good. Oh,
Mm.
I can lead you back to the market square if you like, and yeah, I'll let you know. I'm sure there'll be something that'll come up soon, and I'll let you know if and when we have anything for you.
okay. When we
Thank
do
you.
get back to the market square, Astray does want to stop somewhere and pick up some cartographer's tools because she's proficient, but she didn't have any on her.
All right. Cartographer's tools.
Because
Yes,
then
you
I can
do.
make
can't-
maps of the places we go.
Cartographers. Elder cartographers. I don't want that.
It costs 15 gold pieces.
15, a whole 15 gold. Yeah, you're able to find like what you need. An artisan shop that sells cartographers, a number of those kinds of things. Yeah.
And then, yeah. So now whenever we go exploring, and I'll try and remember like the ways we went up to the cave and stuff like that, so that if somebody needs directions, I can cartographer them up there.
Mhm.
Time is it? Or like what is it like getting to sundown or?
Yeah, it's probably not sundown, but it is
In the afternoon?
Early evening kind of
evening.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, like I have to remember how my fucking fantasy clock works again.
It's okay.
So yeah, it's probably, oh yeah, I have a watch. Yeah, it's probably like eighth bell. So like,
All right. I don't know about you two, but I don't really like the idea of splitting up for the night.
Well, maybe we meet back up with Henri if he's got his stuff done. Hang out kind of by where his place is, and then do the observatory, and then start over tomorrow.
I like that idea. Especially if, I mean, I mean, what if they send more people? You know, more people keep coming from the sky.
And the cultists too.
The cultists. Yep, there's those guys too.
so many things.
So many things.
What a tangled web we weave.
What spells do I have?
So let's head back to Henri's, and maybe he's back. I know,
Yeah.
and we could possibly report some of these things to the Golden Knights before we go to sleep.
But trusted by Henri Golden Knights.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And maybe you should hide that skull somewhere safe.
That is somewhere safe. It's on me.
I mean, I got it pretty easily.
Bad undead.
You could
Well-
hide it better. Are you gonna do? Swallow it?
Wait,
That
what kind of
probably-
undead are we? The kind that can unhinge the jaw, like Imhotep.
Could also hand it to me and I could just fly up real high. I don't know. I was just kidding. I didn't think
I
that was
mean,
actually gonna work.
the likelihood that they know exactly which one of us has it on our person is very small.
Oh yeah, I don't think I want it anyway. I just was teasing.
And
Okay,
I mean, if they try and take it off of you, I can probably get it off you easier than they can.
Right, but perhaps we shouldn't just bring it out in the open. Oh, I've taken it out of her bag and now I have it. Is a lot easier to find than leaving it where it is.
yeah,
Maybe we can sew a false bottom into your bag and hide it under there.
I mean,
Alright.
if anybody starts trying to search our bags, I think we should start fighting them.
Well, yes, fair. But in case they get the bag.
What's going on over here?
Could take the
Anyway,
bag.
let's go to Henri's.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So let's do, obviously Michael's not here. So let's do, and Kat's not back yet. So let's do this. Kat's right there. I have to go to a secret page in D&D Beyond.
What?
I guess it's not so secret, but no, I said go there, jerk. I'm gonna need Key Day. Wow. Key Day, I'm gonna need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
4.
Hmm? No?
No.
Terrific.
Mhm, mhm. You, as you are making your way to Henri's attic, you feel a bit of warmth come from your new red sword. And
Uh-oh.
Is it cursed?
It's
oh,
it's
that was a 4.
it's probably something.
Oh no.
I am
Um,
minding my own business, making my way to my home, temporary home.
and you you kind of feel a warmth come from it briefly, and you feel a presence kind of I don't want to say push its way into you, but you feel a presence like near you, and you hear a voice in your head, not the same voice that you have heard before.
Got so many of them.
I know, right? It's just one of those. This is one of those games.
I'm sorry.
Popular. I know. All
Right?
right.
Now I need to go
And,
listen to Wicked.
And you this voice is it's a woman's voice. In some ways reminds you of Selma's voice. Similar linguistic and kind of tone quality. AKA it might be a fairy person. and the voice says, "I see you, thief, murderer. You can't hide from me." And then there's like an evil laugh that I can't do right now.
Oh, shite.
And I think that's a wonderful place for us to take a weekly pause and be waiting until next week when we find out what are all these things. Just like throwing, like I literally have a bucket of what the fuck, and I'm just throwing at you guys every week.
And it's great.
Oh, this is I love it. This is great. And then of course Henri will be back next week. Well, everyone who is here, let me refresh this so I can call some people out. Maria, I see you. Lori Pub, Rogue Girl, Moobot. Thanks for sticking around, Moobot. I always appreciate you.
We always love Moobot.
Everyone who's here, thanks for being here and hanging out with us while we do whatever this is, and have a good old time exploring the insanity that is our brains. It's been a lot of fun. Of course, I want to say that City of Arches was written by Sly Flourish, Mike Shea, and you can get it from his Patreon. Not a sponsor, but maybe someday. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him. I'll finish that email that I have been typing to him. But it's super fun, and I'm kind of making it my own thing we're kind of making it our own thing because I've taken a lot of things from you, my wonderful players, to flavor and change and make good stuff. So thank you. So yes, let us, and one more thing. Our theme song at the beginning of the episode is Change of the Past from Lost Fellow. So now, please, my players, remind everybody who you are, where they can find you, what you've got going on. And then once we are done with that, I will close it out for real. Let's start with Kristen.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm Darcy Relish on the internet, and you can find me here 5 days a week. You can also find me on Saturday nights, along with Allison, over on Exquisite Corpse Presents, where we play Sister Cities, and shit's going down. Yeah, hooray. And Kat and I, we wrote a thing. We wrote a TTRPG. We talked about it last night on Chaos Commentary, but you can go to our quick and dirty website that'll eventually be updated and be way cooler. And there's a link to the PDF to buy on DriveThruRPG, and it's exciting. It's called Camp Gallowglass.
Very awesome. Allison.
Hi, I'm Allison. I have been your little druid lady this evening. You can find me here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. One day I play a grumpy rogue. On the other, I play a lovely little fairy. And on Saturdays, you can catch me with Kristen over on Exquisite Corpse Presents, where, there's so much happening. And you can catch me on Twitter at It's a Feral. Off to Ashley.
Ashley.
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley, Minnesota Muse 99 on Twitch. You can also find me on Wednesday nights for Beyond Saltmarsh on the Superior Adventurers group, or Guild Superior. And we only have 2 episodes left till the end of the season. So 2 more or 1 more, and then the season finale. So come on by.
That's exciting.
This is Slurpee.
And I, of course, am Real CMG on Twitter and North Shore DM on Twitch. And you can find me right here. That's where I live now. This is my home. So I have a bed in the corner. Coming up on the channel tomorrow, we have Somnon McSterai. All times that I'm about to tell you are in Pacific Standard Time. Somnon McSterai, which is Kristen's homebrew cyberpunk, the system.
Yeah, it's just a
adventure.
homebrew city and
Yeah,
story.
homebrew adventure.
Yeah.
That's at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Monday is Madness Takes Artena, which is Kristen's homebrew 5e game. Very exciting. Tuesday, 1 p.m. Oh, Madness Takes Artena is at 5 p.m. On Mondays, 1 p.m. Watercolor Wizardry with Maria, where she will do some lovely watercolor art. It's so good. You should check it out. It's really cool. And at 4:30 that same day, Misguided Magic, which is the
Hey, I'm in that.
D&D game that Maria DMs, all femme cast. They're amazing.
So much chaos.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's good stuff.
The blind character, Abby's character is amazing.
Oh, Beetlebug.
Beetlebug. That's
He's phenomenal.
so good. Wednesday at 6 is Chaos Curiosities, where someone's going to talk about stuff.
I've conned Chad and possibly Kat into doing some of the curiosities, so I don't always have to come up with stuff to do.
Yeah, it might be me. And then
Or maybe it'll be Chad and Kat.
Maybe both of us. Oh, tag team. Yeah. From the top turnbuckle. And then of course back here on Thursdays for At the Threshold. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, follow, all those things. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.